But at the institutional level, university have much more students. In my view, the quality of the program lead to the increase of the mobility. Not the mobility to enhance the quality. I think a little bit in opposite. Because the receiving university, they want to receive the good student. When the host when the sending university send the students that cannot meet the requirement that this can be rejected. So in the meeting that we have to input, to think and to improve our program. And when the program get reach a certain number of the country, then receiving from university, they have more interest in receive our students. So I think that the quality of the program, quality of our students, the predicted to be for the student to move on.
Thank you. So we know that eventually, the student mobility. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. We don't end yet. So I will entertain the question. But just one more question here. This is very important because the idea to gather here today is because we believe the AUN QA is very important for us. And this is something that we could hold on. This is trustworthy for us. And so I kindly ask the honorable speakers here, what do they think about the AUN QA system itself? Do you think it's good enough? Or is there any improvement we should make to make it much better for me? Please.
I personally think that the AUN QA system is exactly right at this time for us. Eventually, we have to make some adjustments in the future, but right now, it's pretty good. We are still in region somehow adjusting the quality assurance, and even the universities here are not a problem. There are a lot more universities in the ASEAN region which will need to open themselves a little bit up some more to quality assurance. So if there's anything that has to be prepared in the AUN QA system, is that I think they have to be ready for a lot more assessments in the future. But I would also want to make that goal kind of planned and gradual, so that it does not become so sudden that eventually we have or we struggle with its quality and the system in which we apply. So that's the only thing I think is.
Yeah, I do agree with Professor Disna about this. Exactly, because if we talk about quality assurance in the university, maybe in this case, in my university, it's kind of taboo for the previous couple of years. Because the professors to be assessed, like you have to assess God. It is a very taboo. But by the participation of our university AUN, now we have external judgment. It's not a taboo anymore. Our programs try to improve the science. And we put in our strategic plan also many more and more programs to the science grade. I personally want to thank actually to the tremendous work heavily done by the QA system here. We know that it is not easy because we are in Asia, quite right system, but at least For the meantime, AUN becomes one of our preference of choice when we talk about quality assurance. Maybe broader level they also have some other quality assurance methods, but for the first step to get satisfied, the AUN in our region is one step to be fulfilled first before we go further with another system validation. That's right.
I think the AUN is very good initiative of the AUN. The AUN QA itself have been changing from time to time, from the QA model to the criteria, as well as the 3 version now for the program evaluation assessment. For Vietnam and for especially for Green Color, we found it very useful. And we send the request to the Penatana to get the permission to translate the manual to into Vietnamese. I think that's one of the first translation into local language in 2008. For the Ministry of Education, and I also work with the to get the permission to adapt the criteria at the program level to for the assessment in the program in Vietnam. So I think this is very popular in Vietnam. The concept of the QA. That is why the number of the associate member from Vietnam University here is present here. So it's evidence of that is become more and more popular in Vietnam. So I think it's good enough so far.
Yeah, I do agree with all the panels. Yeah, but the AUN the manual or the guidelines that put in place outcome certification. The manuals also put requirements on constructive alignment, benchmarking with national and international standards. And then also the NP also wants us to, the program level want us to see, to analyze the test whether or not our students produce the graduate produce meet the need of the market, and if they don't, then we need to do CQI, in Malaysia, the guideline is much also similar with our internal guidelines produced by NQA. That's why, for Malaysia, we don't have problem in adopting the NQA. But the true challenge is whether or not when we define the learning outcomes, that is what being delivered by the students, at least on the perspective of the stakeholders. So that's our challenge in order for us to produce the graduates that meet all the statements of our learning outcome. Bear in mind our learning outcome, most of the problems concentrate on for students to be a critical thinker and problem solving, and at the same time possess general skills that meets the employability requirements and stakeholders.
Thank you. So now I open up to some questions. One from here, here with the suit, and then I think, so you, sir, and at front, I have two. Hope that we could have enough time. So yeah. No, yeah. Yes, I will suit. I'm sorry. So please mention your name and your university.
Okay, so thank you very much for very wonderful coordination and presentation. My name is Marty from the Royal Steel Law and Economic Company Cambodia, and it is an interesting topic concerning program enhancement and and to teaching enhancement. And as you all have been aware that the variety of ASEAN nations in terms of quality, culture, and also way of life quite different. So I just appreciate that AUN member we take only 4 years to integrate 10 countries. As presented by Dr. Nantana yesterday, from 1995 we had only 6 countries. 1998 we have 1999 we had 10 countries. So only 4 years to integrate all. While ASEAN countries take more than that, around almost 10 times. So coming back to the topic, the program itself can be good. Teaching another obstacle. Teaching approach in each university can vary from one another. So it also get much impact on the student learning outcome then. So from the point of view, as ASEAN university members, or maybe any university in ASEAN, some are very qualified, of course can get what we can say ranking. The other will never come up yet for this day. So how to, according to your point of view, how to enhance, how to cut other lower standard university to get in order to have we can say equitable community in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So I think we just clarify the question first. Yeah? Okay, the second question. Yes.
Thank you. I am Dr. Koyudin, DOI, from University, Jakarta, Indonesia. Now, the topic of our discussion from program improvement to learning institute. This is one of a case of our assembly about philosophy learning students. The main purpose of philosophy according to AUN research is to answer human question about how the race life, live and growing. We agree this is true. And also we know that philosophy will be very instrumental in shaping the character of students. Until nowadays, so very difficult how to make learner or student so as we expect, not just to know, not just to understand, but to answer, really but to answer. I would like to follow this video. Please go.
Thank you. So, please. Madam Ekman.
Thank you. I'm Faisal Major. I don't have a question. I just have a general comment. I think it's very important to put all of us in the common framework and context. The title, program improvement to enhancement, program enhancement. Yeah? Superficially, first instance, we would all think that there's no difference. Improvement is another word for enhancement. Yeah? But I think we should see that as a continuum. In fact, it should be from program assurance, quality assurance, to improvement and to enhancement. So, in assurance, it is to meet the minimum standard of any framework that we use. And as a result of the assessment based on that standard, we shall carry out improvement program. The panels just now mostly focused on the curriculum. But learning enhancement is actually to improve the student learning opportunities, to give them a good experience so that the program shall achieve what is its goal. For example, for a police local graduate, then we must provide learning opportunities which shall make the students such. For example, we have mobility programs, we have internationalization of curriculum, and maybe in terms of delivery, we were all talking about student-centered interactive. We should then adjust our learning spaces to make sure that students have the opportunity to interact. For example, change our classroom from big lecture halls to smaller rooms. So I would postulate that it should be seen as a continuum from quality assurance to making improvement to the curriculum and many other aspects, and then to improvement of the learning opportunities so that we will produce the graduates that we want to produce.
Thank you.
So I want to make a comment. I'm a hero cycle from Osaka University. So I was very impressed with your comment. So thank you so much. So I'd like to share our experience and our activities about this matter. So based on the quality assurance scheme, you need to ask, you need to have voice of the stakeholders. So you were mentioned about the international competitiveness of the international market or something like that, and the position of the ASEAN countries. Okay, so it's a very same situation in Japan. So we are doing the first survey for employer of the alumni. So and also we did a survey of the alumni. So working in the labor market. So we are the research university, and we are trying to have the very good researcher. So, but most of the graduates are going to the labor market. So we did a survey, and we find that our graduates are very good in terms of the skills and knowledge of the special field. So actually they are overqualified. So we don't care about that. Of course we like to have the researchers. We do not decrease the quality. But so they have complained about the generic skill, especially the leadership and communication skill. So there is a difference of the concept of the leadership and the communication skills. So among the countries, so it's very difficult to say that. So they are not satisfied with such kind of skills. So now they are trying to introduce such kind of the curriculum, so to enhance their quality concerning the drinks.
Thank you. Are you all QA directors? Anybody not here not QA directors? You are going to champion QA in your university, and you have an extremely important heavy job ahead of you. Because you need to change the culture, you need to start building systems, you need to bring yourself on board. How do you persuade how do you start to become resistant? When each QA body comes into system, let me tell you, the resistance is very high. Yeah? Resistance of university is very high, then they start to be a bit reactive, they say, okay, we'll look at it. And what I would look for now is them being proactive. They come back and tell the EQA body, look, we have very good innovative system in teaching and learning now. Would you like to look at it? So we can share. From being reactive, they start listening, and then say, now, if I look at my school, I become very proactive as well, as trying to lead the system. And this is what I think is happening with the universities. Once they feel that it's very important for them to take charge of quality for themselves. How you persuade your colleagues in the university can be very challenging. So you can have your review system, you create your own system and so on. Alright, let me just have a little bit more. Now, let me start a little bit on qualification training. Other than Myanmar, that I know have already drafted their framework, the rest of the country have already
Vietnam, I think, is going to push their framework into being. Laos have already got their framework more or less structured, and the rest of the countries have gone ahead. So 10 countries will have qualifications framework. Singapore has a slightly different framework. They have their workforce competency framework, but which you can translate very easily. The purpose of a qualification framework in your country is to actually create a systematic way of coming up with qualification standards. So everybody will come up very systematically, your bachelor is a 4-year bachelor, coming credit, learning outcomes and this and that. So that speaks about the national qualification standard. Now it's very hard to get into a country and say, okay, I have a diploma in 6 months, but your diploma is 3 years. How do I say that's comparable? The qualifications framework put your own national system in order first. It is not really making a big transformation because you already are running those programs 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 2 plus 3 and so on. It's just making it more systematically, more clear, the outcomes are very clear, so the framework can talk to each other, universities can talk to each other, the TVET sector can talk to the television, IQF can talk to the IQF framework, and so on. So you can look at the purpose of the framework. But I think at the end of the day, education quality, if I put it here, I said, contributes to the development of cognitive skills, behavioral traits, attitudes and values. They are just necessary for good citizenship and effective life in the community. That's what qualification framework is trying to achieve. Yeah? And I think in ASEAN countries, the issue of culture, moral values is very high. IQF in Indonesia has one clear component of moral. Now you like this Indonesian system, so they don't have grades are moral. You're either moral or not moral. Qualification framework, 140 plus in the country, in the world. In the ASEAN region, I've already put the acronyms there and so on. But like what somebody said this morning, putting the student at the center of learning, we need to come back and look at this. These are the different objectives or common objective of qualifications framework. And if life is put into the qualification framework, it really can do a lot of things for our system. Otherwise, it's just as good as a piece of paper on which you are drafted on. How do you bring life to qualification? Let's look at some of the common features of qualification. Alright, they always talk about knowledge, skills, abilities. They talk about knowledge, skills, competencies. There are different domains in the framework, but they are more or less going around the same domains that we all specifically call differently. The levels may differ. Some have 7, some have 8, some have 10. And they have common nomenclature, their learning outcomes, the outcome descriptors, their credits, they're learner-centered, and it's flexible. They're supposed to support lifelong learning. Recognition of prior learning now refers to qualification framework. How do you bring in non-formal, informal learning? That's what the purpose of qualification framework. Now let me just try to translate it. I hope you can see from where you are. How qualification framework comes into a program or comes into the university in a program. You always start with the mission of the university. We talked about it this morning. Then you just look at focus on programs. Your program designed with objectives and learning outcomes. We talked about learning outcomes this morning. We talk about how programs are being managed and governed. We talk about academic staff needed for the program. We talk about student selection, student services, resources and so on. Those are more or less the inputs for a program. And we all do this, isn't it? I don't think we're doing it any different. Then the process of transformation, the delivery part, the teaching, learning, the assessment, and so on. And then you measure the outcomes. Outputs are numbers. Outputs may not reflect quality of graduates. They just say how many graduates are coming up on your program. But look at the outcomes. And you need to be able to measure, give me another 2 more minutes, just about to finish. And if you look at another way, this is how the system works, and the ASEAN qualification framework has 4 connected quadrants, and this is what I call one of the ASEAN framework. This is the IQA that Prof. Casey mentioned yesterday, that the institutional audit guideline is aligned to ASEAN quality assurance framework, and this is what we say what universities in ASEAN countries should have. And in the ASEAN, and Ibu may want to talk about it. And basically, your product needs to address mobility of workers, mobility of students within ASEAN region, and these are the linkages. And whether we are, what would be our role? Is there an institutional agenda to sustain quality culture in your university? And this is my last slide. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor Sivan. So I think I will postpone for the question and answer. We will give time or time to Associate Professor Megawati Santoso. So after the second speaker, we will have 15 minutes for the question and answer. Okay, please, Mega.
Thank you, Pak Gandro. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning to afternoon. I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me to this important, very, very important forum, because as Ibu Sita mentioned, this is all QA directors, everybody who will put quality in our country, which is yours. So if our countries, Indonesia, Brunei, Philippines, are doing something wrong with the quality, we know who that we are looking for. Through this work, this will be true. I was asking to explain regarding the Asian qualification framework. So I would like to make a different perspective probably that everybody talking this morning regarding the Asian community itself. I need to talk a little bit about the behind the scene why we need the qualification framework, just to emphasize what the guys already mentioned. All the qualification framework itself, how it works, what is the meaning of that, has been explained clearly, very clearly and wonderfully by Universitas. And I will touch a little bit about Asian qualification framework, and then why is quality assurance is very important regarding the qualification framework, and then one example of impact of the QA based on the QF system. This is probably a very well-known slides. Everybody knows that we cannot go over the GAS, General Agreement of Trade and Services, that we already own that. All the countries in the United Nations has already joined. I think only 22 left is not being in WTO. Everybody needs this, and then there are 4 modes of supply. This is the external driving force why every country needs a qualification framework. The first mode is, of course, for the supply, meaning like many Asian, they purchase good quality education from overseas. Everybody going there to get education. The most 2 is the other way around. So we expect many foreigners to come to our university. Right now, most Asian, probably except probably Singapore, has been struggled to get all international coming to our university regarding the education. But in another side, not in education, the most 2 is very important actually from ours, from the other countries' perspective. For example, what happened in Philippines are very good, wonderful. The doctors in the United States operating from 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. in that time, and when they're closing the hospital, actually already at the night time in the United States, is starting early in the morning in Philippines. So all the diagnose, the data, the medical reports is being sent to the Philippines, and then doctors in Philippines, they waking up in that morning and they start working on that medical reports, they analyze and everything, and then at dawn, they will send the files to the United States. So the next morning, the doctors in the United States already have the files and everything to continue the services. So that kind of mode 2 is very, very important among the countries. many of young in Asia actually has done this. Especially in animation, in computer graphics and everything, many outside countries of Asia purchase the services through our young generation. Mostly, this is the one that actually need higher education, university, international university come to your country. I think only Indonesia that is not opening the door yet for international university come to Indonesia. Malaysia, we know that they have lots of international university there. Vietnam also starting, Thailand, and etc. The move for actually research of natural persons, where all the professors from outside countries come to teach in our countries and etc. Many expatriates coming to help our services in our country. For supporting this mode 1, 2, 3, 4, that's why the qualification framework is very needed. For example, I browse what is the name of a graduate in Vietnam as a bachelor. I think the name is Chunan, is it? Friends from Vietnam? Is it correct? Chunan, you call it bachelor? Is it correct? Korean. Pardon me, I'm very bad. Korean, right? Yes. In Indonesia, we call it sarjana. So if you don't have the qualification framework, and it's Korean, and then sarjana going abroad to New Zealand, to Scotland, who will know this terminology? Sarjana, for example, in Indonesia is only well known in Indonesia and then some part of province as sarjono. So when this sarjana and sarjono going abroad, what is the title of them? So if we don't have the qualification framework, they can be put somewhere, just somewhere, without any description. And it's very, very difficult. Sometimes in exchanging the result of the graduation, the university needs the qualification framework. Another example is, for example, if you have a consultant coming to your country. In Indonesia, for example, Indonesian consultant, I think is being paid quite well, about 30 million rupiah a month, which is quite big for a lecturer like us, But expatriate, international consultant is paying quite low. They pay quite low only in Indonesia, only 30,000, around something like that. The difference is only the currency. So 30,000, but in euros, or in dollars. That's the difference. So I talked with many of my friends in Bappenas, Institute for Policy in our country, and I thought, why you always give a difference between us and the external parties coming to Indonesia? And the Bappenas asking back to me, where is the qualification of consultant in Indonesia? You know, in other countries they have that. That's why they need to be paid on that areas, on that certain recognition. In Indonesia, we know there's a level of consultant we call konconde wong kesulitan, for Indonesia. Okay, so qualification is very important to put you on the certain correct levels if you would like to explain the services. The internal driven, for example, like European, many of them has a very good quality university. They already well known for 200 years delivering university degrees and etc. But why they still need the qualification framework? Because there's a change of transformation in higher education sectors in Europe and the promotion of an outcome-based education. Before, the outcome-based education is starting from 2002. So everybody starting using that, 2002. So right now it's already 2016, 14 years ago they started. Why is that? Because before they use a competency-based education. This competency is really depends on the job. If there is no job, there will be no competencies. Meanwhile, university education sometimes provide or produce a graduate that can adapt with many jobs. you have to provide students sometimes with agility, not only having a certain skills, but a potency to be able to do something like that. It's very different to produce, for example, a chemist like me and a nurse. There's two different pathways of education. A nurse is very competency-based, but a chemist, for example, as me, if we graduate from a university as bachelor, you can fill 14 of jobs, including providing explanation of AQRF. This is the 14th job that I get. Okay? So if that 14th job is being described as a competencies, and all this competency bring into the curriculum, I think not only the student die, I think the faculty members and the people will die altogether because it's too much. So there's a difference. That's why they change from the competency-based to the outcome-based. Outcome-based meaning whatever the program you set, and then you have to set a target. After finishing the program, you will not going outside to the university, graduate only with the prayers from the faculty, but with the skills, with the knowledge, with the certain moral attitudes, and etc. That's actually why the internal driven of the qualification framework is going, because everything, as Ibu Sita mentioned, is based on outcome learning. This is some example here. You can read on my presentation later, but there's an external and internal driven for a qualification framework. For internal driven, you need the quality assurance to be able to fill the qualification framework. You cannot just say, okay, Indonesia has 9 levels, Malaysia has 8 levels, doctor in Malaysia in the level 8, and doctor in Indonesia in level 9, but we don't know actually is it really true for all doctors in the whole Malaysia and Indonesia. We have disparity of quality and etc. So quality assurance is actually the one that will give the soul of the qualification framework. I'm talking right now regarding the Asian qualification frameworks, but before that, let me remind you that establishment of the 3 pillars of the Asian is Asian economic community, political security community, and social cultural community is actually to have these 4 characteristics. The first one, a single market and production base. The second one is a highly competitive economic region, not national region only, a region of equitable economic development, and a region of fully integrated and global economy. When you see this, when they develop this concept, actually it's not a competitiveness among Asian countries. We all together have to synergize all the strength of Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei Darussalam, Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore, all together, and Laos, everybody, Vietnam, we all together going to make a better region competitiveness, so that we can face other region competitiveness better. So for our students, for example, many of Asian students is not interested to mobile among Asian, isn't it? They're interested to mobile from Asian outside Asia, to UK, to Europe, to America, and etc. Okay, it's not interesting for us to mobile among Asian for getting some professional jobs or something like that, if the payment is almost the same between Indonesia and Malaysia and Singapore and etc. Isn't it? But we would like to get more if we can go abroad, for example, going to Dubai or something like that to get better professionalism. So when you see this, actually the one that we have to move is we all together working side by side to make Asian strong. So if there is a university in Asia that is still very low, the top notch of university in that country is low, then the all QA should look together and see what can we do to help the best quality, the best university in that country to have the same quality in China. Let's go on. If, for example, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore are very well known with their medical tourism, right? Everybody would like, actually I don't like to have a tourism like in medical like that. I just would like to have a tourism only, right? But Singapore, Malaysia provide that. Penang, for example, you can go for tourism and then check out. I'm afraid to do that. I just would like to do tourism only, right? But some people does that. So Indonesia, Vietnam, Laos, Brunei, you don't need to imitate them. Let everybody move around Asia to them. And we invite Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand who provide them to come visit Indonesia to buy gemstones, something like that. Right? So that's a good economy. Good one. Good one. You buy that in Indonesia? No? Not yet. Okay. There's certain very good store around one. So for the next services around Asia, then we have the Asian Qualification Reference Framework. If the Malaysian Qualification Framework, Filipino Qualification Framework is the measure or the ruler for their own country, now we have a region ruler. We have a region measurement if we would like to exchange among each other. And this Asia, later on, I just would like to go here, can be acting as a translation device throughout the countries. If you have, for example, like Universitas says, Malaysia has 3 years bachelor, Indonesia has 4 years, the other has 3.5 years, how we can exchange this? We can exchange through this qualification framework. You state the learning outcomes, and we analyze the description of learning outcomes, and then we can work together. Okay, bachelor in Indonesia actually equal to something in Malaysia or Singapore and etc. based on the learning outcomes. So it's becoming a translation device and a regional measure if we would like to move within Asia. Why is it important for getting a national region measure? I would like to move a little bit here. So this is the final end that we would like to have. So if Indonesia has been already aligned with the Asian Qualification Reference Framework, meaning we can have better communication with all 7 member states of Asia. And if we already done that, and later on Asian Qualification Framework will be aligned with the European Qualification Framework. So indirectly, we can align our national qualification framework to Asia and then to Europe, to Australia, and etc. That's actually the purpose. If this is happening, our graduate can be actually recognized that and etc. not only among Asian, but also European and then other regions also. To do that, so we have to have the levels. This is the levels in Asia. You can check whether your graduate actually fit in one of these 2 levels, something like that. And then you can compare, oh, so my bachelor graduates actually in that level. 1, 2, 3. And this Asian Qualification Framework has been endorsed. This is by Ministry of Education, Ministry of Trades and Labor's Economics, and the Ministry of Trades. Education, Trades and Labor's and Economics. So all ministries in Asia has already endorsed this, but the engagement to Asian Qualification Framework is voluntary, meaning you are not being forced to change your identity, to change your level, and etc. towards this. What we can do is just alignment to the Asian Qualification Framework. Okay, why is quality assurance is a must? As I mentioned, that the implementation of qualification framework is in higher education should be carried out in the context of toward improving quality and relevance by strengthening quality assurance. If we would like to synergize all together between 10 member states, we don't want any states in the Asian is too weak and the other is too strong, and then the weakest is being left behind actually. So to make them better, they have to have a good quality assurance in their education, so that they can have the better position for entering the regional economy and etc. Many of universities they don't define the target of the graduate very clearly. So if that's happening, the qualification framework is not happening. You cannot say that, okay, in Indonesia, the doctor is level 9 and equal to the level 8 of the Asian Qualification Reference Framework. You cannot say that unless the quality assurance says so, that everything is quality assured to say that you graduate in that level. Without quality assurance, the framework is nothing. The quality assurance is the one that put the soul into the qualification frameworks. Because the qualification framework is just a description of who you are, what level, etc. And then the proof is coming to the quality assurance. This is the one that we are talking in Asian. If you would like to have the quality assurance, the instrument should be able to capture the completing of loop of process. Not only the input and etc., but you have to have a complete assessment. And then it should be an outcome based. You cannot just check how many professors you have, how many rooms you have, how many books you have, something like that. Is there the bathroom has a door or not, or something like that. But you have to check really whether the target is really achieved through the tracer studies. The employee have to say, this is really happening. The graduates of UI, for example, having this target, and actually it's happening in the workplace. That's actually the shift from the accreditation system, from input and process to the outcome. So you have to define, for example, a simple question. When you say there's a domain of skills, specific skill, the electrical engineering of the ITD have these 5 specific skills, and ask the employee, not all, just sampling, for example, whether that's happening or not. So if there's a shifting from the quality assurance towards the outcome base, you cannot just realize something like that. Either the volume is being fulfilled. Is this student really take 4 years to be a bachelor, or 4 years a month, something like that? And then if 4 years a month, then your values in accreditation is a little bit decreased, something like that. So you should not go into that direction anymore. This has already been explained by Universitas that everything from the qualification framework has to be a curriculum. You have to check and recheck as everything do. And then you have to have a quality assurance internal in university, but it has to be connected to the national qualification system. If, for example, the policy of the country saying that the bachelor in this country is at level 6, but when you check, actually your graduate is level 7, then you might to change. Oh, this is I'm not delivering the bachelor anymore. I'm delivering a bachelor plus, probably professional or something like that. Okay, so you have to look also for the national qualification of that area. So what is the impact of the quality assurance if it is based on the QF system? This is the impact. Oh, sorry. Okay. You can see that some masters is very low compared to the other PhD or something like that. This is happening in your country. In our country, this is sometimes happening. Why that's happening? There's 2 things. Number 1, because the QA system is not pushed enough into the learning outcomes. They check only the input and the process and the system. And there's a regulation in Indonesia before, not now, before the qualification is coming, it stated that the competencies of the graduate is defined by the university. Actually, Indonesian policymakers are very, very wonderful. They put a very highly respect to the university professors to decide their own target. Because that's an autonomy of the university. But that autonomy actually have the accountability. So when they put that kind of policy, actually we are expecting all the university put the highest target. But the others say, well, as long as we define, it's okay. That is could happen. So the second one, they don't have the unclear learning outcomes. They said that we are masters, but actually what we produce is a little bit master-masteran. You know, I don't know what is the English term of that master-masteran. It's not real masters. Okay? How we can know there's a remasters if we make a invitation for a expert or something and we start interview. I'm asking what is actually real expertise on these areas, and he or she will ask, I'm a master, very calm. So at that time I was getting from the flight, my ears is not really working really well, and I'm asking, what? And they say, a master, something like that. See, so say I'm a master, expert on this and this and this, because the learning outcome is not there. So we have to wait there for the qualification. The second one is, this is the impact, for example, in Canada. You might not be able to see this very clearly, but this saying, you see, this is a university degree here. This one, this branch, is the industry qualification. So you see this university degree here, advanced culinary art diploma, doesn't be needed by the industry. So if we are responsible, we should not produce this one, the advanced culinary art diploma, because they don't have any place in the industry. But sometimes university do not take that very seriously. They just produce that according to them is very important. Just produce and produce and produce, and then send them by prayers after graduation. And then the industry doesn't have a place for them. And last time I heard in the radio, I was getting off from the car and then the radio starting. There's a lawsuit of the graduate in United States to the university because he or she, I don't know who he or she, cannot find a job. They said you have to return the investment that I put in. You promised me to get a job, and I don't have a job. So please, don't make Indonesian or Asian going into that direction. You know, we already being paid so low. So if we are being lawsuit like that, that's difficult. Okay, there's another pathway, NUC. So this is again university, and this one is industry. The industry doesn't need this very, very high professor in culinary and chef, something like that. So you should not produce the level that is not necessary for the industry. Okay, so one more slide. I just come again to remind you that we should make the Asian all together. It's not making only competitiveness, but we have to force for the region competitiveness. This song is being sang what? Akan meeting, and by Professor General Bersai. The lyrics is from Indonesian song Burung Kakak. Okay, so it was song like this. Please, everybody that could QA, please memorize this. You will make a test after this, right? Or else you will not get a certificate according to the commitment. I was in charge of it. They said Brunei and Cambodia, Indonesia and Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. We come, we join, we are together, we learn, we love, we believe in each other. We sing, we play, we convey our culture. We are all for Asia. What's down from all of you, please? Okay, starting one, who really respect Professor Chandra. He's Bapak. Yeah, Pak. Okay, let's sing this for Professor Chandra. Is he coming here? Oh no. See, he asked me to let everybody sing this song like this. Okay? Ready everybody? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Brunei and Cambodia, Indonesia and Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. We come, we join, we are together. We learn, we love, we believe in each other. We sing, we play, we convey our culture. We are all for Asia. Thank you. So please don't make so much difficult question for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mega. So I think we come to the question and answer session. So for the first round, I will let 3 questions. Okay, please. Okay, 1, 2. Then, is there any questions from my left side? No? Okay, we just have 2. Okay, please. And please mention your name and your institution.
I'm Johnson. I'm from Singapore. I'm the AUN expert. I saw that one statement on Zita's slide that is nationally defined learning outcome and graduate attribute, right? And I was just thinking about that particular statement. With that statement, if every country have its own nationally defined learning outcome and graduate attribute, well, that stifles academic freedom, innovation, creativity, and also in terms of the spirit of competitive advantage and the spirit against quality assurance. Thank you.
Okay, for the second question, yeah, I think we go to the question first. Second question, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lisa Fitri. I'm from University. My first question is that now all over the world they are moving towards outcome-based education, especially in ASEAN countries, more especially in Indonesia. Our accreditation system is to input-based. So is there any effort from the ASEAN level to endorse or encourage the accreditation system to move towards outcome-based? I mean, especially in Bangladesh, they are still using input-based, as mentioned by Ibu Megawati. Whether the betul is there is a lot of how many classrooms do you have, what are in fact the categories. And my second question is that in Indonesia, although the Indonesian qualification framework has been endorsed in the presidential decree in 2012, 4 years ago, but frankly speaking, at the moment, at the university level, especially at the program level, at the study program level, Indonesian qualification framework is still a paper. We don't really translate it into our curriculum. We haven't finished yet with the Indonesian qualification framework, and now we have a wider framework, the ASEAN qualification framework. So will it be again just become a paper, or is there any effort to make it real? And then I have one more question, but I forgot.
Okay. Okay, so I think there is a person. Yeah, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aiman Abdullah from University of Indonesia. I would like to highlight on the role that AUN QA could play. Probably the panelists give comment on this. We are here today. Basically, we talk about quality assurance. But one thing which I can see is that we are missing the very important component is actually to really use the AUN. Probably we need to have another angle from AUN to look into the building or the assimilations of contents of ASEAN values in our curriculum. So I can see it very hard for us to list top 10 companies from Indonesia. If you ask any Malaysian students, we know well a company back in a company from America. Hardly know any companies in Vietnam. Hardly knows companies in Thailand, for example. We could be the bridge in building a true Asian countries or community. So this could be something we need to, what we call, fine-tune the context of our curriculum, as well, of course, we're talking about the content, and as well the process of it. This could be the potential more on the process. We want to make sure this, but we need to do more than that. If you're really serious, that's what the song is all about, which is to touch me very much, you know. So we need to praise our friends from every country. Since we keep on telling, we might not having the best practice in the world, but at least we want to know who are our friends next, just in our neighborhood. So this could be the angle or area that we could look into in building what we call a strong and united ASEAN communities. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I will let the speakers to answer the question. Okay, maybe from Sita.
I'll try the first question that Josh Johnson answered, and whether nationally prescribed learning outcome is trying to stifle creativity. Looking at, there are the different between some of the frameworks. Yeah? If you look at sector-based framework, they tend to be very restrictive. And you have regional framework, it is very general. Knowledge and skills, application and responsibility. They don't even talk about what skills are expected from us in the country, because each of the country have different emphasis on skills. And national framework tend to sit in between. What would the national system aspire graduates to? And if we talk about knowledge, nobody's going to sacrifice, say, oh, we don't need knowledge, we don't need communication skills. Nobody's going to say they don't need employability skills. Because those are very generic knowledge that minimally the program should provide. And national systems always provide a minimum requirement. It doesn't stop the universities from going and providing more. But they shouldn't do less. So I think this is important at the national level. So I would tend to think that it doesn't stifle. In fact, it leaves a field open, go beyond this. Because you need to build your graduate, that uniqueness in your graduates that you're talking about. And the OBE and improved accreditation. We maintain, by practice in Malaysia, we maintain program accreditation because of the Malaysian qualifications framework. We would be able to really look at the way the program has been designed, what are the objectives, how do we put the qualification learning outcomes into the framework, and in that basis we will then measure what is the outcomes achieved by the institution for that particular program. It doesn't stop there. At the point of accreditation, the student will just exit the program. You can't really measure work competencies until you come back and have a review and talk to the alumni to see. So we find accreditation useful because we zoom deep into the program and the learning outcome, not just a superficial touch. So OBE is embedded inside that. But again, it's not, it is meant to see how your systems are working well. How do you measure learning outcomes? Can you show evidence of it? How do you improve your program from time to time? So it is actually part and parcel of the accreditation system. And the NQF, what do you call it? ICAP program level on paper, not yet. My experience when you launch a qualification framework, like Ibu Mega said, it is nice on paper until it is given life to it. And the one that give life to it will be the national policies and the quality assurance system. Both universities, both universities and the EQA body play its role. And it takes time for you to change your program. I know Indonesia has more than 22,000 programs, and how do you turn that into address? And all universities must take up the responsibility of re-looking at their program, clear about their objective, clear about the learning outcome, put the teaching learning strategies in place, get the right assessment. It takes time. It takes commitment for these things to change, and then only your qualification framework. Once you have done that, it's not hard to say, can we now align to AQRF? So AQRF is very, very generic, and I think in most qualification framework really reflects the AQRF requirement. But what to me personally is your program fulfilling your national qualification framework. If you've done it, I don't see a major problem about fulfilling your ASEAN regional qualification framework.